Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be going over my top favorite 7 thrillers that I have read so far. So like I said, these are going to be my top thrillers that I've read so far. I have a lot of thrillers on my shelves, but I have not read a lot of them because I kind of impulsively just buy thrillers in hopes that I'll get to them soon. Like every other book lover, we just buy books and then they just sit on our shelves forever. But I have read quite a few thrillers that I did enjoy, and I wanted to share my favorites that I've read so far. So I'll start with like my favorite overall, I think, and that is I Let You Go. I've gotten so many people to read this book because it just throws you for such a loop. I read this entire book thinking I knew what was going on. And then I get to like the end and the whole script was just flipped on me. Like I was blown away with some twists that came out in this one. I didn't expect it. It threw me for a loop and made the book that much more exciting because yeah, I thought I had it figured out. I was so sure that I knew what was going to happen. I was not ready for what happened. I was not prepared. So it actually made me go and buy a bunch more of this author's works. I read this for like an Instagram book club a long time ago, and that book club ended up disbanding, but this was one of the books that I read for it. I also read The Martian for it and loved that as well. So it was a really good book club. Like I found some awesome books through it, but this was one of the ones that is like a hidden gem to me because I feel like not that many people know about this book, and I think you will enjoy it if you read it. The general synopsis, which is like very brief, I can't say very much about it, is that it's following a woman who it's her life after a tragic accident and how she's dealing with that and moving forward. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else, but yeah, definitely a very intriguing book, and I guarantee you will be puzzling through this trying to figure out what's going on, and you will be surprised. The next on this list is The Book of Cold Cases. I actually read this because I got a book box for it for Once Upon a Book Club book box. That's quite the tongue twister, but that's a subscription box. I actually have a discount code in my description if you want to try it out. But, anyways, so I read this book for it, and I didn't know really what to expect. Essentially, this book is following a woman who is a true crime blogger, and she lives in this place where a big crime happened, and there was this woman that was called like the highway murderer because she apparently murdered 2 different people on the highway, and so she is also a descendant of like a really rich family and lives up in her like mansion all to herself in seclusion. And she comes into the office that this true crime blogger is working at because her day job is a receptionist at a doctor's office. And so she sees that this client that is coming in is this woman who was claimed to be the murderer. And so she wants to interview her for her true crime blog to like see what happened with this woman and like pick her brain kind of thing. And the woman accepts and says, come up to my house, come up to my estate, and we'll discuss it. And so from there you find out things that are happening. I can't go into too much more, but this one was definitely very intriguing. If you're like a true crime lover, then I think you will like this one because there's lots of twists and turns, and it's got like just the true feeling of true crime. It has it. So yeah, check this one out if that's something you're looking for. Another one I have on this list is Then She Was Gone. Now, this is by Lisa Jewell, and this is the only book I've read by Lisa Jewell so far, but based on that, I would definitely read more books by her. So this one I read as part of a buddy read, and I really enjoyed talking back and forth with I think it was Amanda that I read this with. I talked back and forth with her about this book as we're going through. There's a lot of like messed up stuff that happens in this book. This one is also kind of like a true crime feel. I think it's a work of fiction, but it has the feeling of true crime. And yeah, it gets dark in this one, like dark. So if you like dark books, then this might be up your alley. This one is following the story of a girl who I believe she's a teen girl. She goes missing, and it's her mother like trying to find her and search for her, and like the aftermath of how her mother's dealing with losing her child. And from there, like, you explore multiple perspectives in this book, so you get to see a lot of different things that happened over the events of what happened. It's really hard to explain thrillers because I don't want to give like anything away. But yeah, so this one is definitely an interesting one and will kind of give you the heebie-jeebies because I got that from some of the different characters in this book. But you'll see if you read it. Another one I loved is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This one was such a mind bender. Like, I did not know what to think when I finished this book. It was so weird, but so like encapturing. Like, it pulled me right in. I got this from Simon & Schuster as an arc like a long time ago, and I was going on a flight, and that flight was only about a 2-hour flight, but I read this entire book in one sitting on that flight. And yeah, I was just pulled in. They have a Netflix adaptation of this, and it is like, it makes you feel super uncomfortable, and that's what I felt in this book. But it was like uncomfortable at the same time, trying to like solve a puzzle, because you know that there's like something weird going on. There's some like underlying story that you're trying to figure out as you read. And yeah, this one will definitely keep your mind like focused and bending on trying to figure out like what is going on. So yeah, definitely read this if you want one of the, like, I would say it's like a psychological thriller because there's not too many like scary aspects to it, but it's just like fear of different perceptions and things like that. So if that sounds like something you like, then you can check this one out. It's a very short read, like you can read it super fast. So if you want something really quick that's gonna like capture you and keep you reading, this is probably it. Speaking of psychological thrillers, I have Face of Evil. And so this was actually written by an author that at the time they wrote this, they were either 17 or 18. And that's fascinating to me. Like, I give them so much props for being able to write something this good at that age. So this is following a journalist named Lydia who is investigating a serial killer. And so she is going to visit him in the asylum that he's in, and she's conducting like a series of interviews with him to kind of like learn more about this person and learn more about like his psyche. But at the same time, he's kind of playing like a little cat and mouse game with her because there's something else that's going on outside of like their interviews. And so it's super intriguing and definitely will keep you on your toes. This one definitely reminded me of like a long murder mystery, and I was totally here for it because I was puzzling along with the characters trying to figure out what was happening. And yeah, it got pretty dark in this one too, but I was all here for it. And I definitely want to read more books that George puts out. So definitely keep up with your writing, George, because you're doing a great job. My second last one is Blood Will Out. This is by Joe Triggieri. This is one of the first books that I read on NetGalley, which was very exciting. And this one is following a girl who wakes up in a well. It's an abandoned well, so there's no like water in it, but she wakes up at the bottom of the well, and it's like her story of trying to survive and get out of this well and get out of there. But it starts the book with her waking up not knowing how she got there or what happened. And so I always love books that start off that way, where you're just like thrown into a situation with the character and you don't know anything and they don't know anything either, so you gotta like figure it out as the character figures it out. So yeah, I just love those kind of situations, and I also like isolated setting situations. And I mean, like, I would say the bottom of a well is kind of like an isolated situation because there's nowhere else to go. But yeah, this one is a dual perspective book. You also get to go into the mind of like the villain of this one, so that's very interesting as well. And yeah, I definitely think you will enjoy this. And then the last one I have on my list is Tell Me When You Feel Something. And so this one I would classify as more of like a medical thriller, like picture Grey's Anatomy, but like a thriller version of that. So this is following students that are training to become doctors and other people that are participating in like like a volunteer victim program where they go and they're assigned like a certain illness or something, and then the doctors that are in training have to figure out what's wrong with them, identify and diagnose their illnesses slash disease or whatever they have, and then go from there. And that's how like they train as doctors. And so this is all kind of like happening at this facility. Different things are happening that shouldn't be happening, and yeah, some stuff goes on. It gets very intriguing as the book goes on, and there are definitely some dark moments in this one too. So pretty much the buzzword is, if you like dark books, then you'll like all these books that I've listed. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want something like that. And that's it. Those are my 7 top thrillers that I've read so far. I'm sure this list is going to change, and I'll probably do an updated version as I read more thrillers. But those are the ones that currently hold those positions for now. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, because I'm always curious to hear others' thoughts on these thrillers, and excited to see if they were like blown away by the twists and turns just like I was. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.